with varieties of tribal communities having their unique, distinct culture. That's why it is truly a mosaic of culture. There are equally issues like that of youth unemployment, inclusive development, urban-rural divide. Similarly, in the area of politics, we find there has been the emergence of regional political parties. Right after the independence, the national political parties were predominant in this region. But with the passage of time, the regional political parties emerged, and in most of the states till 1915, there were mostly coalition governments. But again, there is a change which is occurring gradually, where national political parties are coming to the forefront. Similarly, another important political dynamic is the stable government. We observe there are often political defection is taking place in quite some of the states. Political hostility takes place and governments fall and new governments comes to power. There are issues of refugees equally. This northeastern region is affected because of the refugee population which is entering into the region. Further, there are issues of migration from different parts of the country to this region. So all these issues needs to be addressed to understand the dynamics of socio-political scenario of Northeast. I hope that there are two prominent scholars who will be handling. One, that is Professor Rajan Singh from the Department of Political Science, Manipur University, who will be talking about the strategic significance of this region for India. As we understand that strategically this region is very important because of the international boundaries with several nations, and it is having the longest international boundary in the country. International boundary automatically gives birth to varieties of issues and problems that needs to be addressed. Further, Professor Dangal also will be taking up an important issue, which from Mizoram Department of Political Science, Mizoram University, will be talking about the status of the Chakmas in Northeast India and the Chakma Autonomous Council, working of Chakma Autonomous Council. So I hope that we'll be having fruitful discussion about these important topics. I myself will be speaking about the working of the Panchayat Raj in Arunachal Pradesh specifically, and its interface with that of the traditional village councils. Thank you all. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, sir, for making a very short but very comprehensive and thought-provoking remarks. Now, moving on to the next agenda, let me introduce Professor Rajan Singh. Sir is there online. Sir is online, no? Please check once.
Sir, can you hear us?
Rajan Singh, sir. Can't hear any sound.
I think our speaker is having some issues with audio connectivity. I would request everyone to be a little patient. We are sorting out the issue. as he is not with us in the university, we can only communicate through mobile. So give us 2 minutes, and I hope we will be able to connect with him soon. I would like to share with everyone. He is requested to give him some time so that he can log out and log in again. So please be patient. Connectivity, as we know, is not very good in the Northeast. And this has been our story for the last 3 days. That patience has pulled us through. So hopefully in the next 5 minutes, we'll be connecting again. Professor Rajan, sir, can you hear us? Sir, may I please request to unmute yourself?
Hello.
Hello, yes, we can hear you, sir, now.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir, loud and clear now.
Okay.
But sir, your video is not connected, sir.
Video. Okay, I'll see.
Sir. We can hear you, but we can't see you. Yes, sir.
Just a minute.
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Audio is clear, sir. Sir, we cannot see you, sir.
Yes, I am trying.
We can hear you, but we can't.
Yes, I am trying. Hello. Hello.
Hello. Yes, sir.
Yeah. Yeah. Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir. We can both hear you and see you, sir.
Okay, right. Thank you.
That's
You see, good morning, and I must acknowledge my gratitude to the organizers of this webinar for inviting me and giving a platform. First, I must admit that I'm not a very, sound scholar, and I'm not. I wouldn't claim any scholarship to the topic I'm trying to speak. but I have some research experience on the area of Southeast Asia and East Asia, and I have done some research on international relations, particularly in Southeast Asia and East Asia. Keeping that in perspective, what I want to share with you is how Northeast India is strategically important, not because Northeast India shares around 98-99% of its border with 4 or 5 countries, but besides that, what I want to share with you is how Northeast India is strategically looked from 6th-7th century onwards, and with the coming of the colonial powers, the Second World War, and now. So keeping that in mind, I would just share with you. I think most of us from Northeast are aware about the strategic importance of Northeast India. But just for some of the outsiders, as I noticed among the participants, for them, let me briefly put 3-4 lines about what is Northeast India. And as I have mentioned, 98%, 99% of Northeast India shares border with international with countries, and then the importance of Northeast India was recognized, in not long back from 7th century onwards, with the visit of Xuanzang in 600, who was in 7th century, and he is supposed to have visited Tuensang in Nagaland now. And the name Tuensang, I'm told, is name of the Tuensang. Then in Manipur Chronicles, as well as in Ahom Buranzis, I have noticed that India's they have taken interest, and then I'll cite 2-3 in Manipur of migration to Northeast, and even it reached Silchar, or what we call Bangladesh now. Then there is another article. I'm sorry. There is another book written by Royal. How the relationship between Southeast Asia and Northeast India, not necessarily about Manipur, has been recorded. So what I am trying to stress is that the Northeastern region has been of interest, strategic interest to a lot of countries, not necessarily great powers. China, of course, they have taken a lot of interest, as I have mentioned, Xuanzang's visit in 6th, 7th century, and all that. Then coming to the even from that period onwards, we also noticed the importance of Sadia as a trading point, the importance of Kibito, Natula as a tea and horse trade route. These are some of the significance of Northeast India, even from that time onwards. But with the coming of the colonial powers in Asia, the significance of Northeast has increased, I would argue, because we have noticed with the rise of British colonial powers, and even preceding that, the Mughals tried to conquer parts of Assam. In fact, in the context of Manipur, the migration of Muslims possibly began with the rise of Muslim or Mughal powers in Indian continent. Now, in the importance of the region has magnified in modern times, particularly from the colonial period, is because of the Burma-China-India road, and which was basically constructed during the Second World War. And it is amazing that in 2 years' time, the otherwise remote part of Northeast would be connected to China, to Myanmar or Burma, and then to Singapore and all that. So that shows the significant interest or the strategic interest of the region even during that time. And not only the British, but it is the Americans, It is also the Chinese, the Taiwan, and Japan. And in the 1942, 43, 44 Japan War, which took place in Manipur, we call it Japan War, Second World War. But in fact, Imphal and Kohima is recognized as one of the greatest battlefields of the Second World War. So these are some of the reasons why I think Northeast India is important. And then in the contemporary period, what we have noticed is there is a significant interest taken by, say, Myanmar, taken by, say, Thailand, and taken by Laos or Vietnam for 2-3 reasons. Number one, Vietnam, Laos, Cambodia, and Thailand, they have shown level of interest for pilgrimage through Northeast because they find it little more economical to travel through Northeast and visit the holy places of Buddhist holy places like Gaya. And then second, we have, as we probably many of us are aware, India-Myanmar Trilateral Highway, which is in fact projected to be completed by 2022. And let me share my experience. I have traveled through this India-Myanmar Trilateral Highway 4 or 5 times. And based on that, I'll say this also promises a lot of things for Northeast India. And at the same time, that also highlights the strategic significance of Northeast India, not purely from the strategic means in the military sense, but also for trade, pilgrimages, education, including medical tourism. And I'll give you 2-3 instances how medical tourism can be one of the areas which can attract, patients for treatment to not only to Manipur, but also to Guwahati or Assam, where we have better facility and better trained doctors. Now, Northeast India is also important as a space, living space or Lebensraum for many of the migrants from neighboring, like it could be Bengali, it could be Nepali, or it could be Chinguki Mizo. And these are some of the strategic significance of Northeast India from that side. In fact, as we all know, we have Citizenship Amendment Act and all that, and this illegal, whatever, of course, CAA is a debatable or a very hotly debated issue. And this also proves that Northeast India's significance because it has a lower population density in compared to some of the neighboring states, of course, leaving aside Myanmar. Okay. Now, this is the strategic importance of Northeast India looking from our neighboring countries. Now, why, of course, this is not the right time to speak about China, because we have this Galwan issue, Doklam, and series of issues are there. And but I would say China has been taking a lot of interest to Northeast India, and that is testified by the Second World War construction of the Steel Rail Road, as we all know. Then linking of Burma, China, India road link. And then construction of Imphal, Tamu or More or Burma Road. Then during the Second World War, let me just highlight the importance of Northeast India. Japan tried to capture Northeast India from 3 directions, and of course, very few of us are aware about it, except those who have some interest on the Second World War. So 3 direction means that also proves the significance, strategic significance of Northeast India as a significance of Northeast India strategically, because Japan says Northeast India, or Imphal particularly says, it is like a flower on the lofty heights. It's very strategically beautiful. Not only strategically beautiful, it is also visually attractive, but it is very difficult to capture. That's also the significance of Imphal or surrounding area, including Nagaland, even today. And the interest Japan has shown in the past few years is also amazing, because they are trying to, I think, invest or looking for avenue for investment. And then not only Japan, the Myanmar has a lot of interest. They are interested to revive the trade. And of course, as we probably know, almost 2 years ago, we have an entry and what you call transit facility that is open up in Tamu More and in another place, in Mizoram and Champhai, that border. So in other words, what I'm trying to say is that Myanmar is also taking a lot of interest because they feel that they can do potentially trade with Northeast India, which is far away from the main industrial centers of India. And then in the past 15, 20 years, I have been taking a lot of interest on the region. And let me also share my experience. Of course, we are all prisoners of our own experience. So I'm not trying to highlight my experience, but what I feel is important is that it is constantly being recognized that the India and Myanmar has a lot of potential to do not only trade, but to cooperate, people-to-people exchange. Because for Myanmar, Manipur is advantageous because they can just come across the border and reach Imphal, where we have better facility for education, we have better facilities for medical treatment. And let me give you example of how Thailand is also taking interest in education. I think as of today, probably 8 PhD students from Thailand has been awarded a degree from Manipur University. And we have 2-3 from Laos now, and we have 2 or so from Myanmar. So these are the indications that our neighboring countries, particularly along India's northeast, are taking a lot of interest. Thailand, they are looking for a lot of areas for investment. And I am told that they are also looking for land where they can invest, because this is keeping in mind the India-Myanmar trilateral highway. And then not only that, and they also look for, as I have mentioned, the route for Buddhist pilgrimage site. And not only Bodh Gaya, we have also identified some of the Buddhist pilgrimage site in Assam, as we all know, in Sikkim, in Arunachal. So these are some of the potential areas for future collaboration, and that I feel would go a long way in promoting Northeast India as a strategic region. And as I said, when I talk about strategy, it is not purely from securing or securitizing our border or purely from the military side of view, but I'm talking about future people-to-people collaboration or to secure or to ensure human security. Now, so what we can do? So what are the problems? In other words, I noticed some problems, because in the context of Northeast, what I have noticed is that Northeastern people are not yet fully equipped. We are not skilled enough to participate in the whole process of development, in the whole process of decision making. And then second, we lacked capital in the real sense. One of the basic problem of Northeast, as I have noticed in my experience, is the lack of capital. And third, not in order of priority, is the lack of infrastructure. These are some of the issues which I think this forum or this webinar would probably help in creating a forum where we can share or aggregate our interests and articulate it properly. Having said that, what are the problems? I noticed the problem is one. I sense that there is a kind of trust deficit vis-a-vis provincial or northeastern politicians or decision maker vis-a-vis the policy makers at the center or Delhi. Then many times our provincial decision makers, they simply follow the policies without actually reflecting on the reality or contextual necessity of the region. This is one. This is second. Then another problem is sometimes democracy probably is a kind of curse in the context of Northeast, because we elect or we select people without taking into consideration their capability, their potentiality, or their commitment or sincerity to the region. These are the things. Now, then another point is, do the people of India or mainstream India trust us? In fact, 2 instances I'll cite, which is very, for me, is very important. Number one, during the COVID, the attack on northeastern people in various parts of India increased, has arisen or has risen. So this also proves that, is there a trust deficit on the kind of the people from Northeast, or in other words, racial incompatibility probably is still, or rather it has emerged much more stronger than what it used to be. Then another episode where NACNIM recently, they have made a press statement which says that after after 5 or 6 NACN cadre were shot dead in somewhere in Arunachal, Nagaland area, if I recall correctly, they have said that India government is punishing us because they could not do anything against the Galwan incident. In other words, this incident may not be taken at face value, but it also raises the sentiment which is there in some of the community of people living in the North. Now, having said that, what can we do? This is my point. What can we do? One, I have always tried to argue about the necessity to have a forum cutting across different political spectrum, different community differences, and have a forum where we can articulate, aggregate our interests by keeping, I would stress the word, political distancing, because this is today the social distancing is a kind of catchphrase. So I'm using the word political distancing. In other words, we need to have an institutionalized think tank forum cutting across different political parties or from different intelligentsia or intellectuals cutting of all the straits, representing of various community. And because in Northeast, what I have find is we are always our argument, our vision, our perspective are always confined to that small different community. We are not able to look beyond. So therefore, what I feel is that we need to have a forum, number one, so that we can negotiate our differences within the community. And the second, we have to articulate our requirements to the center, to the central government. Therefore, keeping this in mind, I feel that at least for how Northeast India can develop relationship with, with our neighborhood, we need to have kind of informed, opinion from the Northeast. So my suggestion is we need to have a institutionalized think tank forum cutting across different political spectrum as well community differences. This is one. Then when we talk about Northeast, insurgency always comes into mind. I have been observing insurgency for quite some time, and let me proudly say I was born with insurgency, because the year when insurgency erupted in Northeast, I was born along with it. And in fact, my interest on China and Southeast Asia is because of that. In fact, I was born immediately after the China-India War of 1962. Probably that is a kind of subconsciously that has, made me take interest in China's activities in Southeast Asia and how Chinese are doing in other parts of Southeast Asia or Asia Pacific at last. Now, let me again stress why insurgency. Insurgency for me, it was associated with a particular generation. And it probably, if we reflect a little more, I think it is also, since it was associated with a particular generation, probably we need to think whether it is the phase of insurgency is taking a new turn, for better or worse, that is different thing. And as we notice, the character or the nature, even the interest articulation of the insurgent groups in operating in various parts of Northeast is now is taking a new turn. And then when we talk about insurgency, we always have two countries in the picture. One is Chinese influence. And recently there was a webinar where the governor of Nagaland, Aryan Ravi, he probably was speaking on Chinese role in Northeast insurgency or something like that. It was purely by invitation only, but I have certain information about it. What I'm trying to say is that China always comes into picture. And second is the role of Myanmar. Role of Myanmar as a kind of staging point, or as a kind of a country which is hosting all the Northeast insurgent. Now, let's be a little optimistic. Let insurgency be there, but we have to look little beyond that. So how can we do that? Then how can we end insurgency in Northeast? This is again a very delicate and very sentimental thing to many of us. But as I have mentioned, this phase of insurgency in Northeast, it may be different as the new generation takes over. But we do not want the new generation to take over. Therefore, it is the right time for us to intervene. And the right time for intervention can begin from neutral groups like the academic community, the research bodies and all that, and it may not come from the politicians, because politicians, they have to make decisions on day-to-day basis, and their lifespan, as you know, are not very long. Therefore, they probably do not have the time to reflect on that. So keeping that in mind, I'm again stressing the importance of Northeast India intellectuals kind of forums, cutting across different communities, because for me, I understand that there is a hierarchy in every state, because some tribes are always looked with certain kind of reverence, certain kind of as a higher status. Let's forget all that. We can have a representative from different communities, but the selection process or the election or selection of those groups should be a little more neutral, and by keeping, as I said, a political distance. This is what I feel is very important in our context. Now, what are the interests of Northeast? What are the interests of the neighboring countries to say Northeast India? In the last 5-10 years, I have been working on the Bangladesh, China, India, Myanmar economic corridor. In fact, the first article I have written in my entire academic life began with a publication on Kunming Initiative, which was the original name of the BCIM economic corridor. And on that basis, I have been traveling all the Southeast Asian, mainland Southeast Asian countries quite a few times. I have seen the borders at all the mainland Southeast Asia, like between Vietnam and China, between Laos and China, between Myanmar and China, and Cambodia and Laos and Thailand. So after seeing that, I'm feeling very saddened, if you compare the border trade that happened among this mainland Southeast Asia and the border trade that takes place between More and Tamu, that means between India and Myanmar, and that takes place between that Chowkhadar and Rikhwadar, that is in Mizoram and Myanmar. Because it's quite pathetic, to see that in fact, let me say, not very long ago, I have visited before the coronavirus pandemic spread to many places in the world. I have visited the Chowkhadar Rikhwadar, that is the trading point between Myanmar and Mizoram. In fact, the road is simply unthinkable. I have visited some of the worst road in Northeast India, but in comparison with that is much more pathetic, and I don't think it is viable. At least it will take some time to make it viable, that road can exist as a trading point. And here I'm not denigrating the importance of that trading point, but I'm simply stating that there is no kind of sincere commitment, despite ADB, Asian Development Bank, has agreed to grant a loan of 100 million to make that road. In fact, later on, I learned from a Japanese friend. He says that they are looking for that avenue precisely because the route that passes through Imphal, there is Tamu Imphal More or Imphal Tamu road, is always filled with insurgent texts. Therefore, they feel that Myanmar, being the most peaceful state in Northeast India, that would be the better alternative. But probably they have realized the impossibility, at least for some time, of that trade route. So this is also an area, as I'm trying to say, Japan is still taking interest. Japan has taken interest during the Second World War. They have experienced Northeast India during Second World War, and now their interest still continues. Let me stress that, because I have been meeting quite a lot of Japanese visitors from different university, even some entrepreneurs who repeatedly come to Manipur, and they are testing the waters. So what I'm trying to say, Northeast India has a lot of potential. And then now, having said that, we also have look east policy or act east policy, very fashionable, catchy phrase, but we need to go. We need to look beyond that. We need to look beyond that because you see, the time has changed. And in fact, it is time for us means for the people of Northeastern India to raise a collective voice and to articulate again and aggregate our interests to the center. And that would come from us. I think we have seen how policy making from the control room of Delhi has harmed the interests of Northeast. In fact, let me again come back to insurgency. I always argue with scholars or with some of the policymakers who are the architect of anti or counter-insurgency movement in Northeast. I always argue that you are using Western tools or Western description or Western analysis on how to fight insurgency, and without any social reflection or reflection on the reality of Northeast. Therefore, your counter-insurgency measure have failed. In fact, now they're taking, I think some of them have taken notice of the argument. This is not only my argument, this is the argument or articulation by many of the people from Northeast, because the counter-insurgency measure is a failure. Is a failure means it has failed. And in fact, why the failure lies, because our people are also were not able to communicate, because we provincial policymakers, they could never say no. They could never articulate this is what is happening. Therefore, keeping that in mind, I feel that we need to have a strong voice, because we are very proud of India's democratic tradition. And in a democratic tradition, unlike the authoritarian regimes like in China, where human rights abuse and your voice are stifled, what I feel in India, we raise our demands through peaceful ways, and that possibly can help in in making a kind of healthier atmosphere. And this is what I feel is important. And we need not look to the past, just for our guidance. We need to make our present much more better, much more presentable, or much more perfect. And with that, I'll wind up, because my flow or spontaneity was lost when I could not connect with you. And of course, I'll leave 10 or so minutes for questions, or whatever. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir, for beautifully organized the whole of idea and comprehensively discuss the issues, taking all aspects into perspectives and complete within the specified time. Thank you, sir. Now, Rajan sir spoke on the strategic issues of significance of Northeast India in India, the importance of Northeast India and how it attracted the attentions of the neighboring states, and the development paradigm that can be suitable for the development of the region. Now, the participants may ask questions by unmuting the speaker or mics, or drop questions in the chat box. Yes, please.
Good afternoon, sir.
Sir, yes, sir.
Yes, sir. My name is Dr. Dipong Kamai. I'm from Himalayan University. It is very interesting to hear you speak. And I have lots of questions and comments, but I'll focus only on one thing. We talk lots about geophysical importance or significance of the Northeast in context of linking India with Southeast Asia, and Far East Asia. And we have issues of connecting it with those areas started since early 1990s when the Lugis policy was enunciated. Now it has already been 30 years, but until now there is no much benefit or improvement in Northeast in terms of social, economic, and political development. So my questions to you is, does the Northeast is another symbolic gateway to mainland India, like the Rome for Europe in 18th century? Thank you.
If there is any more question, I'll take it and respond. Is it okay?
Hello, I have a question. Congratulations, Singh sir, for a wonderful presentation. Yes, sir. So I have a question that, sir, in your presentation, you have mentioned that we should use the Western idea to tackle with the problem of insurgency. So my question is that, sir, that there are some many countries are there in many Western countries are there who are suffering from the problem of insurgency. So what is your opinion about it, sir?
Okay, yeah.
Yes, any more?
Hello, Dr. Singh. Sir.
Yes, yeah.
This is Dr. David Gao from Department of Political Science, RGU. So as you have spoken about that there should be a common platform, especially involving the academic diaspora of the Northeastern region, to have a greater representation in India. So recently, as you are also an expert in the insurgency in the Northeast, there has been, some insurgency group coming over to this Arunachal Pradesh. There has been in the news where around 8 or 9 of them have been shot, and they were received with heroic welcome from the state where they have came from. So, at one side, when you say about a common platform of the entire Northeast community, and on the other side, when the insurgency activities of a particular state of the Northeast has a spillover effect on a state like peace-loving state like Arunachal Pradesh, and the people are suffering. How do you look at this sort of dynamics that is spreading? I hope I have been heard.
Yes, yes.
Okay, yeah.
Good morning, sir. I'm Lorenon Christopher. I just want to know the impact of China factor in the strategic of Northeast India. Hello, sir.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Hello, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah, there is a question in the chat box.
Yes.
Asked by Lalwam Zwala Kangte.
Okay.
The question is, sir, do you think insurgency problems in Northeast India could be solved properly by the Indian government? That was the question, sir.
Okay. Yeah, okay, thank you. Any more? Shall I respond?
Yes, sir. Now it seems that there is no more questions.
Yeah, okay. Thank you so much. In fact, I must admit, I must have missed quite a few things because I was slightly disturbed, after I could not connect with you now.
Yes.
And I have missed, I know, quite a few things. But now, coming to Dr. Kamai, you see, I feel about your Lugis policy and all that gateway, all this, I feel government of India probably is not very sincere, because if you look at the road, which is connecting Imphal to Myanmar, I am amazed the time it has taken, as you said, for the last 30 years, Ek is policy or look is policy. Nothing substantial has been gained. I share your concern and I subscribe to that. And here I feel the fault also lies with the provincial government. This is my argument. Because our provincial leadership, they are simply towing the lines of these whoever party is in power. They have never been articulating our requirements in a very assertive or in a proper way. That is why I feel that, you know, to make them stronger, to make their voice heard, we probably need to have a common platform. Of course, it would not be very easy because, as you all know, even a small place like Manipur with 30 lakh population, so many competing groups are there. But that is a kind of internal thing that is negotiable. That's my argument. And I have also some concern why government of India has taken such a long time even to make that 60-kilometer road from Palel to Tamu. Why it has taken such a long time? And second, coming to the railway head, which is supposed to be in Imphal, I don't think it will be meeting the target, you know. And then there is also another apprehension. People are saying that these railways are constructed purely for military or troops movement, because without commensurate or proper or proportionate surface connectivity improvement, a railway network, particularly in the context of topographically very challenged region like Northeast, it would be simply meaningless. So what I'm trying to say is that look is policy, all these are fashionable phrase, catchy phrase. And in fact, the Ek is policy is being questioned in various circles of Southeast Asia, which I can share with you, because I have been interacting with many scholars from Southeast Asian countries, think tank, particularly from mainland Southeast Asia. My focus is on mainland, like that means accepting, ignoring all those littoral countries, you know. So they are also questioning, is India really sincere about Ek or Lugis policy? And then I agree that this Ek is policy, it may have more negative consequences. And I also have the same fear, because given the fact that our people have no capital, number one, to compete with multinationals. And second, our people are not skilled enough. We do not have entrepreneurship. And the reason why we do not have entrepreneurship is precisely Northeastern region really lack in capital. Therefore, I also have the same fear that, you know, Northeast would be just a transit road with all the negative consequences leaving to our people, you know, and that is a very reasonable fear, considering the fact that we all are, you know, not prepared for this, whatever globalization or whatever. I think I answer your thing, right? And then coming to Western ideas to fight insurgency, because our insurgency are very different. If my understanding of my society, particularly Nagaland, Manipur, and Mizoram, and you know, these three states I take little more interest, I think our insurgency possibly are not comparable with the insurgency in many parts of the world. Because we are, you see, our first globalization or our first contact with the outside world, I feel it began only with the Second World War, only with the Second World War. And then our education, or whatever education we have now, I think it began only from 1960s onwards. You know, before 1956, we have a lot of problem because during the time of monarchy in Manipur, you have to be approved by the monarch to go for higher studies. So therefore, popular education is a very late thing. So keeping that in mind, our insurgency need not be fought by using the counter-insurgency measures adopted in other parts. We need to understand our society, involve more people. And it's a small community. Everybody knows each other. I think that may help in fighting insurgency, other than the hard tools used by the state machineries. And then I think I answer your thing, right? Okay. Then coming to Dr. David, insurgency and new generation, this is the greatest fear I have, because the younger generation, they are more exposed to the social media. They have more, what can I say, sophisticated ways of communicating. They will turn into more terroristic things. In fact, let me share this, the kind of alienation, the kind of discomfort, the generation like my son who are in their 20s against the mainstream Indian is much more different than what we used to feel in my days. So keeping that in mind, the insurgency may take in a very terroristic turn. They will have more sophisticated tools, and it will be run by very few people. Unlike the mass-based insurgency of our time. This is what I feel. So, and therefore, keeping that in mind, I think we need to have a kind of a purely, not purely, with more focus on how our people feel alienated from the mainstream Indian. Is it purely from the mainstream Indians, or is it really a problem created by the provincial government? This needs to be, I think, distinguished. And let's not wholesale adopt the Western counter-insurgency measures. And that has, as you know, failed in various parts of the world, in Latin America, in many parts of Southeast Asia. That is what I'm trying to argue, right? Thank you. And then about Christopher's thing, China insurgency, they used to help during Mao Zedong's time. We all know it. And as I have mentioned, recently there was a seminar, of course, webinar organized by Governor of Nagaland, R.N. Ravi. The title is China's something on Northeast insurgency. China's, what I forgot the exact word, China something on Northeast insurgency. I think the fear is genuine, I would say, but the nature of extending help to insurgent group in Northeast, I think is changed, because I have talked about this issue of Chinese helping Northeast insurgents. I think they have some interest in Northeast, because I have raised this question in quite a few forums in China. They said, yeah, but Rajan, those things are over. We are more interested in economic activity. So I think there is a part of truth in that, because I noticed that they are selling arms. But that does not mean that ideological thing or material support probably is not there. They probably sell arms at a slightly more subsidized rate. That could be the way. But otherwise, ideologically, they may not overtly extend help to any insurgent group. It will be, I think, for me, a more economic. But they may also have long term, because they may use it, in future in case of real war. But how strong are or is the insurgent group in Northeast, it will depend on that, right? Thank you, Christopher. And the fifth question I have is, can government of India solve insurgency? I think why not? Any political problem can be solved if there is sincerity, because we have seen kind of very much more protracted or intractable insurgency in Philippines, but those things could be resolved. And for that, we need to have a lot of people-to-people contact. We need to have a lot of sharing. But as I have mentioned, that as Northeastern people are gradually being targeted during this Corona thing, that left a very bad impression. And if you recall, a few years ago, many people from Northeast working in various parts of South India, they have to migrate. If these things are there, I think that will create more hatred, or it will lead to more distrust. And therefore, but that sincerity is very important. How sincere you are. Like if I have to take the example of NSCN-IM and Government of India, this ceasefire, that we have more than, I think, almost 20 or whatever years of ceasefire, but how sincere is that? That is the question raised in various circles. The sincerity of government on both sides, and sincerity on these two negotiating parties are very important. But sincerity is really important. And then who is the interlocutor? Is it simply buying time, or how committed the negotiator in that? I think it will really count a lot. In other words, for me, it is negotiable. It can be solved. Thank you.
Yes, the participants can ask some more questions since we are having times. If there is anything to ask from the participants, may please ask.
No.
It seems, sir, there is no, yes.
Thank you.
No more, no more questions, sir, it seems.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you so much for, sir, your excellent and scholarly deliberations on the topics. Thank you, sir. We are very grateful to you.
Thank you so much.
Move on to the next session. We have Professor Jay Dongal, Professor, Mizoram University. Professor Dongal, hello, sir. Dongal, sir. Hello, sir.
Can you hear me?
Sir, do you hear me, sir?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
No, it's not clear, sir.
Okay. Then
hello, sir.
let me use the microphone. Hello.
What is the problem? Please say. Hello, sir.
Hello.
I also. Can you hear me, sir?
Yeah, I can hear you.
But your sound, sir, is not clear and video is not coming.
You are on the video.
Oh, it's okay. Oh, sir, now it's clear. Can you hear me, sir? Sir?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, sir. And video also is very clear. Hello, sir. Yes.
So you can, you know.
Yes. Now, huh? Yes. But sir, sound is not clear. हाँ? उसमें ना हम लोग कम है। It seems there is a problems of network in your flash. Ours is okay, and video is very much clear, but the only problem is audio.
Okay. But
Hello, sir.
hello.
It's not clear, sir. Your audio is not clear.
Okay, then select right in desktop.
अच्छा हो गया एक
कॉल कर
हाँ
हेलो सर
ऑडियो नहीं आ रहा
Vivek sir. Hello, Vivek sir.
Yes.
Dr. The present speaker, I think maybe gap in the next slot until we fix this problem. You can proceed with the next speaker. I think.
wait करेंगे
It's ready.
we are waiting
Okay, let us wait for some time.
तुम रिक्वेस्ट कर दो पार्टिसिपेंट को रिक्वेस्ट कर दो सर
Now, may I request the participants to have patience and wait for some time. There is problems of networks in South Place, Mizoram. Ours here, no problem. The problem is there. So let us wait for some time till it is corrected.
Hello, I think he can present without video so that the voice will come. I think you can request him, sir.
Sir is facing some network issue and he is correcting it right now. So let's have patience. I request all the participants to have some patience till everything is restored. कॉल किया सर जो
तो नहीं रहेगा ना बाहर का जब ड्राइवर आप लोग तो वेट करें
Sir, can you hear us?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Oh, hello.
Sir, you have to unmute yourself.
You can hear me now?
Yes, yes. All good, sir. We can see you and we can hear you.
Okay. คุยสองแง่กับมันตอนเนี่ย Shall I start?
Wait, sir. Let me introduce to the participants, sir.
Okay, okay.
So, Professor Zaid Dangal is a professor in the Department of Political Science, Mizoram University, Aizawl, and director of IQAC, Mizoram University. His area of interest are 6th schedule to the Constitution, government and politics in Northeast India, and Indian government and politics. May I now invite Professor Dangal, Professor, Mizoram University, to enlighten us.
Thank you, Dr. Lolen. And I would like to beg your apology for not being able to start in time because of the network problem. And as it is already highlighted in the program, today I will speak on the topic status of the Chakmas in Northeast India with special reference to emergence of the Chakma Autonomous District Council of Mizoram. And so with regard to this Chakma Autonomous District Council, I would like to share you the screen, but it is not possible. Let me try if you can see it or not. Oh. Will you please enable the screen sharing?
Yes, sir. You have enabled, sir.
Local.
So just click at the share screen.
Disable participant screen sharing.
So can you try?
Yeah, I tried, but I could not get, because here it is written host disable.
We will give you rights again, sir. Then. Good.
Okay, let me carry on because okay, then I think it's better to carry it on without sharing the screen, because it is not
It's
possible.
a connectivity issue.
Because I put some pictures also, but that I would like to share to the participants, but it is not possible. It's only a wastage of time, it seems. So let me carry on without screen. Okay. I'm audible, no?
Yes, sir. You're audible, sir. So please start.
Okay. So
Output.
okay, as it is highlighted in the program, I'll deliver lecture on status of the Chakmas in Northeast India with special reference to Chakma Autonomous District Council in Mizoram. And with regard to the introduction, so about the origin or the historical authenticity of the Chakmas, there is no such authentic historical record. And as we know, the Chakma identified themselves as Changma, and they claim to have originated from Sakyan range, in which Gautama Buddha was born in Nepal. And there are different theories about the origin and the migratory route of the Chakma. So it is known that Chakmas migrated to Arakan either from mainland India or South East Asia. And it is said that they moved towards Chittagong, and Chittagong was regarded as the original home of the Chakma. From Chittagong, some of them moved towards Tripura,
starting from colonial era, then to Nepal, present Arunachal Pradesh in post-independent period. And now in Northeast, the Chakma settled in Arunachal Pradesh, Mizoram, and Tripura. And this Chakma Autonomous District Council evolved out in Mizoram in 1972, and still it is one of the political problems which Mizoram has faced. And Chakma issue is also still a complex political issue in Arunachal Pradesh. And with regard to origin, as I said, there are different views about the historical origin, ethnic identity, and migratory route of the Chakmas. And we know that Chakmas profess Buddhism, and their original home is regarded as Chittagong. And on the basis of physiognomical features, and
Madam, I think we need to work on the
that Chakmas belong to the urban group of communities. But some writers, they feel that Chakmas are from Arakanese origin. And some other writers, like British writer Alex Hutchinson, believe that Chakmas belong to Indian Aryan family. And Hutchinson also held the view that Chakma might have come out from the offspring of marriage between the soldier of Nawab Shastra Khan, commander of Bengal, and Hiri women. But this is clearly denied by Chakmas. And there are some other theories about the origin that some say that the Chakmas belong to Assam.
Sir, sorry to interrupt, sir. Can you hear me?
There are no such unaccepted.
Sir, can you hear me?
Moy Madam, please request sir to change his position if
I'm trying to
possible.
talk to him.
Yeah, please request him to change his
Dr.
position.
Dongu, can you hear me, sir? Sir, we are having connectivity issues. The audio is not clear. You are connected two lines, sir. Maybe you can disconnect from one and rejoin us, sir. You have logged in two accounts. I think that's why the data is being used by two accounts. Sir, can you try logging out in one last time? You can try logging in again. So the audio is still giving problems, sir. If you can log in again, sir.
Hello, I am Dr. L. Dongal from Dibrugarh. My cousin J. Dongal is presenting. I am mistakenly made a co-host. Perhaps this also weakened the network. Look into it. Hello, L. Dongal, you may not make me a co-host. I think that will weaken your system. Please. Thank you. L. Dongal, Dr. L. Dongal, you can cancel that one.
Dia avoid
Sir, please say something. We can just check the line, sir. If you can just talk to us for a minute.
Is it all right now? Hello?
Yes, sir, it's better. It's better than earlier. Sir, can you please say something? So,
Okay. Can you hear me?
yes, we can hear you.
Shall I carry on?
Participants may show a thumbs up if you can hear him. David, sir, can please respond. Can you hear him?
Yeah, it's better now, but I think it still needs to be adjusted because there is an echo coming from behind.
Sir, we will just connect to you over the phone and resolve this.
Am I audible?
We can request Dongal sir to shift the position. Maybe the place where he's sitting and might be having the network classes inside the house.
Sir, we can hear you now. You can continue, sir. Audio is breaking again, sir.
Hello? Am I audible?
Now it's clear, sir. Now it's
Okay, okay. Shall I carry on then?
yes, sir. Perfect, sir. Thank you so much, sir, for putting that word.
Okay.
All good,
So,
sir. You can continue.
with regard to this origin of the Chakma, Dr. F. Lianqinga, who was a researcher on Chakma, he wrote that the Chakma call themselves Sangma or Changma, and they trace their origin to Champanagal. And some writers believe this Champanagal to be located at a distance of 29 kilometers from Agartala, but some believe that this might be located in Bihar. And there are others who believe that it might be in Southeast Asia. That's why there are divergent views, as I've said, with regard to this. And whatever be the case, these Chakma, Lianqinga held the view that they might pass through Upper Myanmar from East Asia, then proceeded to Brahmaputra Valley, then through Arakan, they enter Chittagong, and Chittagong is regarded as the original homeland of the Chakmas. But due to their long association with the Bengalis, they are influenced by Bengali culture and language, and the recorded settlement of Chakmas in Chittagong is recorded as early as 16th century AD. So in 1550 AD, a Portuguese cartographer, João de Bardom, he saw a map of Chakma Kingdom, which started from Feni River to the north.
हाँ वो अपना म्यूट कर सर you have muted yourself sir your audio has been audio is on mute sir sir can you hear me your audio is mute phone करो sir you, please unmute your mic
Yeah, lahe. Hello. Okay. Yeah, I'm doing now. Hello. Hello.
yes
Can you hear me?
yes we can hear you sir but we can't see you now
Yeah. Am I audible?
yeah audio is audible sir yes
So shall I carry on?
But sir, video is not coming.
sir we do not have your video sir
Sir, hello.
Hello. Shall I carry on if I'm audible? Am I audible? Is it all right now? Am I audible? Oh. Shall I carry on? Am I audible? Okay, let me carry on.
while we are awaiting for our speaker to reconnect, I can see a lot of queries on the feedback box on the feedback form. The same will be shared in the WhatsApp group at 7 p.m. today. While we are waiting for our speaker to reconnect, I would like to share with all the participants that the feedback form would be shared in the WhatsApp group of political science, not on other subjects, only in the WhatsApp group of political science at 7 p.m. today. And the link will be open for 24 hours till 7 p.m. tomorrow. We are having some connectivity issues. Sir is trying to reconnect with us.
Am I audible? Hello? Okay, let me carry on. So, the status of the Chakmas in pre-British period is, it is mentioned already, Chittagong is regarded as the original home of the Chakmas. So in Chittagong hill tracts, in Chittagong there are tribes are classified into two. Làm nghe vui vậy. Hello? Am I audible?
Yes, sir. No?
Hello? Yeah. 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 If you can hear the audio, shall I carry on? It will be better, no?
Yeah, Mohit, madam, and Dongle sir, it's better if it's carry with the audio.
Okay, then let me carry on if it is audible. Yeah, that will be better. Okay. Okay.
I would like to share with everyone that sir is having some connectivity issue, and he's just called and he shared that the data is better if he connects only through audio. So he will not be connecting to a video today, and he will be sharing his lecture only on audio. I would request sir to please carry on.
Okay, we'll continue. So tribes of Chittagong are classified into two, Hongtha and Tongtha. And tribes who live near the river, they are classified as Hongtha. And tribes who live in the thick jungle in the hills, they are classified as Tongtha. And among the Hongtha tribes, there are Chakmas, Kumis, Mrus, and Kiangs. And with regard to these Tongtha tribes, Tongtha tribe means tribes who live in hills in the jungle, like Pang, who are classified as Pankhua in Bangladesh, then Bom, who are classified as Bongo, then Lusai, Iria, and others. So far as these Chakmas are concerned, the first legendary king of the Chakma was recorded as Rajab Bizogiri. Then, after that, the first golden king of the Chakma was Jabar Khan, who ruled from 1686 to 1705. And in this Chittagong, the Chakma king ruled without disturbance till the appearance of Mughal in Deccan. Then there were several military encounters between the Mughal forces and the Chakma kingdom. And after that, Chakma king Fateh Khan, he signed agreement with Pirukshire Mughal Emperor. Then the Mughal Emperor and Chakma kingdom began to have trade relations. And in such a way, the Chakma kingdom continued to rule without any outside interference till the appearance of the British in Chittagong Tract in 1787. And as we know, the British authority obtained the Diwali of Bengal, Orissa, and Bihar in 1757. And after that, they moved closer to tribal territories in eastern Bengal and Assam. And in 1763, Henry Bowles, the representative of East India Company, he recognized the jurisdiction of Chakma Raya in Chittagong. So, a Chakma king ruled in proposed dynastic succession in pre-British period, and the Chakma dynastic rule continued even after the coming of the British. And adoption of the title Khan by the Chakma surprised everyone, because the Chakmas were never converted to Muslim, and why Khan title was used, because some felt that Khan title was used because Chakma wanted to be associated with the Muslim, and other opinion that Khan means head of the tribal group or leader of the tribe, like Genghis Khan. Because of that, Khan title seemed to be used. And while the Chakmas were in Chittagong, some of few Chakma population, they moved to Tripura during the rule of Raja Krishna Manika in 1768. And since then,
Chakma settlement began in Tripura. And after the coming of the British colonization of Chakma settlement started during the reign of Kalenji Rani Chakma Queen in 1860. And in 1860, Chakma kingdom was divided into two administrative units by the British administration. One is Chittagong Plain Area, and the other one Chittagong Hill Tract. Chittagong Plain Area was regulated district. Regulated district means normal laws and regulations applied here. But Chittagong Hill Tract, or non-integrated form as CHT, it was a non-regulated district. Non-regulated district means normal laws and regulations did not apply. And Chakmas were found both in the Chittagong Hill Tract and Chittagong Plains. And in 1892, this Chittagong Hill Tract was divided into 9 circles, 3 blocks, and a number of mosaics. And head of its Taluk or Sarkar was known as Talukar. And earlier, this Takma kingdom was concentrated only in the Chittagong plains. And Chittagong hill tracts was inhabited by Tongva tribes like Pam, Bom, Lusai, who were known as Kuki by the Bengalis. Because of that, Chittagong hill tracts was known and recorded as Kuki land or Kuki country by the colonial writers. Because those tribes who settled here, they were known as Kuki by the Bengalis. And this Chittagong hill tract was free from any rulers in pre-British period because it was regarded as land of the headhunters. Because only those tribes they settled here. Then this, after the coming of the British, these tribes of Chittagong hill tracts, they were legally protected by the British authority by enforcing Chittagong hill tract regulation of 1980. By this Chittagong hill tract regulation of 1900, any outsiders, land peoples, they were not allowed to enter Chittagong hill tracts. And after the creation of Chittagong hill tract as a district, Sakma king was recognized by the British as Raja of Chittagong hill tract, although there was no much Sakma settlement before. Then, during the time, the British administrators, they did many things for their own administrative convenience. And due to that, in the area near the Demagari, which is now known as Tabung, in Demagari and surrounding area, there were some Sakma settlements. And these Sakma settlements in Demagari and surrounding, by an order passed by Sir Charles Hillier, Lieutenant Governor of Bengal, in 1892, they were included in South Lusai Hills. And during the time, Lusai Hills was divided into South Lusai Hills and North Lusai Hills. South Lusai Hills was under the jurisdiction of Lieutenant Governor Province of Bengal, and North Lusai Hills was under the jurisdiction of Chief Commissioner Province of Assam. So, since the order passed by, since the order elected by and enforced by Charles Hillier in 1892, some Sakma settlements in Demagari and surrounding, they became part of South Lusai Hills. And when South Lusai Hills and North Lusai Hills were amalgamated into single administrative units as Lusai Hills district, with effect from 1st April 1898, that small Sakma settlement became part of the unified Lusai Hills. And after that, Lusai Hills was placed under the jurisdiction of Chief Commissioner of Assam. And so, due to that order enforced by Sir Charles Hillier, few Sakma settlements, they became legally part of South Lusai Hills. During that time, the present area where Sakma Autonomous District Council was formed, there was no Sakma settlement at all. Then, after that, Sakma influx started, both in the Demagari area and in Uykum Tlangung area. In Uykum Tlangung range, Sakma settlement was said to begin from 1905, but large-scale influx took place only from 1940. That's why, due to illegal immigration of Sakma population in these Uykum Tlangung range, Uykum Tlangung became to be dominated by Sakmas. Then, but those few Sakmas, even those Sakmas who became part of South Lusai Hills due to enforcement of order by Sir Charles Hillier, to them also foreigner tax of 5 rupees was levied annually, and this levying of foreigner tax continued till 1950-51 by Superintendent, afterwards Deputy Commissioner of Lusai Hills. And in regard to this, one notification was issued by the Deputy Commissioner of Lusai Hills in 1954 for restricting the movement of Sakma and Brus in Lusai Hills. Then, what is the status of the Sakmas in both independent when arrangement was made and when India was to be partitioned into India and Pakistan, Chittagong Hill Tracts was regarded to be part of India, and in such a way, arrangement was also made. But what happened? Though Chittagong Hill Tract was to be within the territory of India, it was clandestinely given to Pakistan due to negotiation between the government of India and Pakistan in lieu of Sikh-dominated areas of Jira and Firozpur of Punjab. And the declaration to this was made on 17 August 1947. And that's why prominent Sakma leader, Sneha Kumar Sakma, appealed to Congress leaders, and he also appealed to the Bengal Boundary Commission headed by Sir Cyril Ratcliffe, British judge who had the Boundary Commission. That's why, as Chittagong Hill Tract was to be part of India, it was also under the jurisdiction of excluded and partially excluded area Argument Assam Subcommittee. And in that committee also, in that subcommittee, S.K. Sakma was appointed as co-opted member. That's why every arrangement was made and things was taken up so that Chittagong Hill Tract to be part of India. But Radcliffe did not hear the appeal of the Sakmas, and Lord Mountbatten could not help them. And Nehru and Patel also assured the Sakma that Chittagong Hill Tract will be part of India, but they did not keep their promise. Instead of pressurizing for Chittagong Hill Tract to be part of India, they extended Chittagong Hill Tract to Jira and Firozpur of Punjab. Then what happened? So this Radcliffe award was announced on 17 August 1947. Then it was broadcasted in all India radio that Chittagong Hill Tract should be part of Pakistan. But what happened? People of Chittagong Hill Tract, Sakmas and other Konkha and Konkha tribes of Chittagong Hill Tract, they felt that they should be part of India. Because of that, in Rangamati, Sakmas celebrated Indian Independence Day, and Indian tricolor flag was hoisted by Sakma leader Sneha Kumar Sakma in Rangamati. And likewise, the other second largest tribes of the Chittagong Hill Tract, Marmas also, they hoisted Burmese flag in Bandar. And none of the tribes in Chittagong Hill Tract, they didn't want to be part of Pakistan. Majority of them, they wanted to be part of India, and some they wanted to be part of Burma. But on 17th August, as I said, Radcliffe award was announced, and Chittagong Hill Tract was exchanged to Pakistan in lieu of Jira and Firozpur of Punjab. That happened. On 24 August 1947, Pakistan armies marched over Rangamati. They pulled down Indian flag and hoisted Pakistani flag. And Sakma leaders, they had emergency meeting and they resolved to oppose the Radcliffe award. Sneha Kumar Sakma is kept in India and so hail from Nehru and Patel. And from the moment Pakistani government intervened, Pakistani government was suspicious of the indigenous Sakmas as anti-Pakistani, anti-Islamic, and they disbanded even the Chittagong Hill Tract police force. And after that, what followed? So Chittagong Hill Tract was the excluded area. The excluded area means other plain people and other people, they could not enter Chittagong Hill Tract with the permission of the concerned authority. But then the excluded hills area status was also withdrawn in 1963. And after that, Muslim infiltration was directly encouraged in Chittagong Hill Tract. So on the eve of independence in 1947, tribal population in Chittagong Hill Tract comprised of 97.5%. But what is the ratio of tribal population now? The ratio of tribal population in 1991 census is only 51.5%, and Bengali population ratio, which was only 2.something in 1947, it now jumped up to 48.5%. And this happened due to encouragement of the Pakistani government and encouraging the Muslim to settle in the tribal land in Chittagong Hill Tracts. That's why, since Chittagong Hill Tracts became part of Pakistan, the tribes of Chittagong Hill Tracts, particularly the Chakma, they were in disadvantageous position. So then, like Arakan and Chittagong, Chakma settlement started in Tripura since pre-British period. So Tripura can be regarded as one of the original settlement of the Chakma in Northeast India. And Chakmas also enjoy their political rights and indigenous status in Tripura. But with regard to other northeastern states, in the Hills, Chakma settlement began after the transfer of the Nagari and surrounding village to South Lusai Hills due to enforcement of Sir Salih's Elliott in 1892. But as I said, during that time, there was no Chakma settlement in the present or the present Chakma district council area. Then, with regard to Nefa, President Arunachal Pradesh, Chakma's influx started after construction of Kaptai Dam in 1964. Then, what is this Kaptai Dam? This Kaptai Dam was constructed in an area where Chakma Palace and Chakma Kingdom was here earlier. And this Kaptai Dam flooded 1,036 kilometers land and submerged 57% of agricultural land in Chittagong Hill Tracts and displaced 1 lakh people and 18,000 families. And this Kaptai Dam hydroelectric project was built by Pakistani government with the assistance of US Agency of International Development for generating electricity for East Pakistan at the cost of tribals of Chittagong Hill Tracts. Then the already humiliated Chakmas and the already humiliated other tribes from Chittagong Hill Tracts, they were put under more suffering after the construction of this Kaptai Dam. So Kaptai Dam not only submerged 54% of agricultural land in Chittagong Hill Tracts, but it also made 1 lakh people homeless. And the Article Chakma Palace and many historical significance of the Chakmas were buried and under water by this Kaptai Dam. And due to that, yes, 18,000 families and about 1 lakh people were homeless. Some of them they fled to Arakan, and some they came to India. And those who came to India, they were settled in Nefa. And they are still in Arunachal Pradesh without citizenship right. That's why citizenship of Chakma is important political issue now in Arunachal Pradesh, and this is also one of the issues in Mizoram. And so far as Arunachal Pradesh is concerned, all those Chakma refugees and the British Chakma population, they are not given citizenship because of that they cannot be enrolled in electoral roll. But in Mizoram, the case is different. Even those who interled, they can be enrolled in electoral roll, and that is the other political problem. And as I said, Tripura is the only Chakma settlement in Northeast India where citizenship issue is not raised. And in Mizoram, Chakma settlement can be found in 3 administrative districts, in Mamit district, Lunglei district, and in Longklai district. And in such a way, the Chakmas, they face a lot of problems. And because of these hardship, immense hardship faced by the Chakma people, Mahendra Narayan Larma, M.N. Larma, he founded one association, Parbatya Chattogram Jana Samiti, PCJSS, to fight for the rights of the Chakmas. And even after the battle of Bangladesh on 16 December 1971, the status and privilege of the Chakma did not improve. They were put under more Brahmin rule, even under this East Pakistan or Bangladesh government. And this elected as a member of East Pakistan National Assembly in 1970 before the Bangladesh, but he had not much hope for minority under the new nation. Then he was also a member of the Constituent Assembly of Bangladesh, but his proposal for multiculturalism was not accepted. Because of that, he walked away. He walked out from Bangladesh Constituent Assembly. And after that, yes, he didn't have much expectation under Bangladesh government. He set up parallel government in Chittagong Hill Tracts. Then Sanjeev Gandhi was formed as army of PCJSS. Then for many years, there was an insurgency in Chittagong Hill Tracts being engineered by the Sanjeev Gandhi. Then, even before the starting of armed insurgency, PCJSS sent a delegation to President Bangladesh to recognize the rights of the indigenous people, tribal of Chittagong Hill Tracts, but no response was given in this regard. Because of that, the Sanjeev Gandhi, they carried on the armed insurgency movement. And because of that, military operation was undertaken against the Sanjeev Gandhi in Chittagong Hill Tracts, and due to that, many Sakmas they fled to Tripura due to raid, looting, genocide, and inhuman acts of Bangladesh army. However, on 2nd December 1997, Chittagong Hill Tracts peace accord was signed between government of Bangladesh and PCJSS, and more than 2 decades insurgency came to an end. And as per this to Chittagong Hill Tracts. So, but this Chittagong Hill Tracts peace accord did not cover the 1 lakh refugees in Arunachal Pradesh and did not cover the mass in Mizoram. That's why those Chittagong Hill Tracts accord was signed. Some problem in Northeast India to not solve. Therefore, Sakma issue still occupies an important political issue in northeastern state of Arunachal Pradesh and Mizoram. And now, Sakmas have been quietly given official recognition as scheduled tribes in 5 Indian states, namely Assam, Meghalaya, Mizoram, Tripura, and West Bengal. And as we know, the Sakmas are uprooted from their original homeland, Chittagong, and are compelled to settle in Arunachal Pradesh. But government and some in Mizoram. But government of Bangladesh is now turning a blind eye to suffering of the Sakmas to flee their homeland. And Sakma population suffered not because of their misdeeds, but due to the wrong decision of government of India.
Dongal sir.
So,
Dongal sir.
Yeah.
Hello, sir.
Oh, am I audible?
Yes, sir. Actually, sir, we are getting late. We have already exceeded 10 minutes time.
Okay. I'll try to brief.
Yes, surely. Surely, sir.
Okay. That is about the political historical background of the Sakmas. That's why the Sakmas felt they were treated by and because they were promised to be part of India. Had Sakmas been part of India, the present problem faced by the Sakmas might be apart. That's why one thing that I would like to add is that yes, Kashmir is regarded as the Waterloo of Nehru. This giving away of Chittagong Hill Tracts to Pakistan is also can be said as another Waterloo of the British Timor. Then how Sakma Autonomous District Council evolved in Mizoram? We know that the Sakmas in the Evergreen side, area, they became part of society hills because of order issued by Churchill is 1892. But with regard to this Uyghur Bandung, Sakma settlement began only since 1905. And after that, large-scale influx to this Uyghur Bandung started only in the 1940s. Then during that time, Sakmas were employed as agricultural workers by Lao chiefs in their benefit. But they occupied the area. Then they overpopulated the original inhabitants, Lao, and Pao. And one thing that I would like to add is that Sakma's association with the Sahels began since 1871-72. Because in 1871-72, there was Lusai expedition. And in this Lusai expedition, some Sakma men were engaged as labor corps by the British forces. But those Sakma who came as labor corps in 1871-72, they didn't settle. They went there to Sidon. So exactly in the Makri area, Sakma settlements started after 1892 because of the border passed by Sidon. Then in this Sidon area, Sakma settlement began in 1905 and large-scale influx started from 1940. But how illegal immigrants, constitutional body, Sakma Autonomous District Council was created. So I'll come to the point now. So from 1952, Sakmas under the leadership of Christo Mohan Sakma and Hari Christo Sakma, they submitted 4 memoranda to government of Assam for creation of Sakma Regional Council. Then in Lusai Hills Autonomous District Council was created from 26 April 1952. 1 year after that, for minority tribes, Oil Regional Council was created in 1953. Then this Oil Regional Council became part of the and here in this area, due to statement of the Sakmas and due to that, Sakmas had members in 1972. And with the presentation of but it was the council. And during that time, as I said earlier, many memoranda had already been submitted to government of Assam. And after that, in 1967, another memorandum was submitted by Prime Minister for creation of Sakma Autonomous District Council. And at that juncture, there was one very clever and good politician, in Oil Regional Council. So in September 1970, when leaders of Oil Regional Council they went to Delhi with regard to creation and creation of Regional Council from this Oil Regional Council area, Atul Chandra Sakma was the UN leader. Then Atul Chandra Sakma, he was conscious of the status of the Sakma because of that he met Tim Booker, who was Secretary to the government of India at the time. Then he applied about the status of the Sakmas, the necessity of Regional Council for the Sakmas, and he could convince Tim Booker. But during that time, in 6th schedule, there was a provision for creation of 2 or more district council from one district council, but there was no provision for creation of 2 or more regional council from one regional council. Because of that, what was done? Then, in the northeastern area, the organization of 1972, here one amendment was introduced to the 6th schedule. So, in order that the regional council could be bifurcated or could be divided, one paragraph was added. Subparagraph 3 was, in subparagraph 3, paragraph 1 of the 6th schedule, one clause was added. That is clause 8. Then, what was mentioned in that clause 8? Regional council, from one regional council can be divided into 2 or Regional Council, Lucknow Regional Council, and Sakma Regional Council came. Then within 1 month, and during the time, this clarification of Regional Council was notified by S.J. Das, who was the Chief Commissioner of Mizoram at the time. Then, after formation of Mizoram Union Territorial Legislative Assembly, S.J. Das was recalled. S.P. Mukherjee was appointed as the first Lieutenant Governor of Mizoram. And after the coming of Lieutenant Governor, so on 29 April 1972, dissolution of Mizoram District Council was promulgated. And on that very day, the 3 regional councils were upgraded to the status of autonomous district council. Then Sakma Regional Council became Sakma Autonomous District Council. And with regard to this, many questions were raised. Was this creation of Sakma Autonomous District Council constitutional? Is it legal? And why that clause 8 is no longer here in the CCF? So is it constitutional? So with in this regard, I would like to mention here that, yeah, the way how Chakmas in Uyghur Tlangu, the present Chakma Autonomous District Council, occupied the area, and the way how they immigrated, it is illegal. There was illegal influx. But for those people who entered the area illegally, who were immigrants, the Autonomous District Council has been created constitutionally. Because while the regional council was bifurcated into 3 regional councils, and those 3 regional councils were upgraded into Autonomous District Council, and this was done by enactment of the Parliament in Northeastern Area Reorganization in 1971. That's why, so far as the creation of Sakma Autonomous District Council is concerned, it is constitutional because it is being established by an act of Parliament. Now, let me come to the conclusion. Our conclusion now. As we know, the original home of Sakma is Chittagong. And due to certain reason, which is not because of their doing, Sakmas became Chittagong trade, which is regarded to be part of India, was given away to Pakistan by Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru. And because of that, the ill fate and hardships of the Sakma started. And not only that, after the construction and completion of Kathaitam in 1964, 18,000 families, more than 1 lakh population, they became homeless. So some they fled to Arakan, some they came to India, few came to Burma, and the majority of them they settled in Nepal and the Arunachal Pradesh. In such a way, the Sakma hardship started. And with regard to Mizoram, so as I say, for those Sakmas whose influx started from 1905, constitutional body Sakma Autonomous District Council was created in Mizoram. So that is the status. So in this regard,
hello, Dongal sir.
The Sakma suffer and the human rights are divided, and the Sakma suffer and those because of wrong decisions taken by the government of India in 1947. That's why for the present hardship which they are facing, the Sakmas
Dongal sir.
In this regard, government of India and government of Bangladesh should get some steps so that a progressive solution may come up for safety of people in India and for the Sakmas and those trying to
Hello, sir.
Yes, of time, let me conclude.
Oh, ये Dongal, गया network. Hello, sir.
Yeah.
Hello, sir.
Yes, I hear you.
Hello. Thank you, sir, for excellent and scholarly deliberation. We are very much delighted and enlightened with deliberation, and we are very much thankful to you, sir. Your deliberation has greatly enhanced our knowledge about ADC, the need of ADC, and the problems and prospects associated with. Thank you, sir. So there was a problems of audio, some technical issues at the times of deliberations. We are extremely sorry for that, sir. And the participants are requested to send or forward the queries to WhatsApp group or email. And we will forward the same to the expert, Professor Dongal, later on. So thank you, sir.
Thank you so much for your patience.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
Now, video. Oh, yes. Now, move on to the next session. May I now request Professor P.K. Panigrahi, Professor and Head, Department of Political Science, urge you to enlighten us on the topic working of Panchayati Raj in Northeast India with special reference to Arunachal Pradesh. Yeah. Welcome. Yes.
Good afternoon to you all participants. Esteemed participants, we just had technical snags and you know, Northeast India, the telecommunication has its own problem. Am I audible to everybody? Yes. I'll be talking about basically the working of Panchayat Raj in Arunachal Pradesh, its interface with that of the village councils. Before getting into the details of Panchayat Raj, let us understand Panchayat Raj from an etymological point of view. Though Panchayat Raj was introduced in our country in a formal, organized way during the British period, however, it is not a new concept to all of us. The etymologically speaking, the concept Panchayat is coming from that of it is a combination of two words, Panch and Yat. So the Panch means the five, and in the Indian tradition, Panch is considered as the Panch Parmeshwar, whose decisions, verdicts are accepted by the society. We find references of the decentralized governance in the ancient period in India. There were the division of the territory into various segments, and there were janpads which were headed by the Graminis, and those were responsible for taking care of the immediate requirements, and they had their autonomy so far governance of the localities are concerned. This local self-government in the ancient period, though was not very formal and organized, it varied from the one period to that of the others, but we find references in Kautilya's Arthashastra how the local governance were carried on. Further, during the British period, the introduction of the local self-government by Lord Mayo and Lord Ripon, in fact, they are considered as the pioneers in introducing the local self-government in India got a organized recognition and organized institutional arrangement for decentralized governance. When we come to Arunachal Pradesh, as you know, one of the seven sisters of this region, is a beautiful state with blue mountains, green forests, and rivers and riverines. Topographically, it is a picturesque state. It is inhabited by more than hundreds of tribes and
ये हैंग हो गया
Well, sorry, there was some technical snag. But as I was talking, Arunachal Pradesh is a beautiful state with blue mountains and green forests, rivers and riverines, is inhabited by more than 100 tribes and sub-tribes. These tribes and sub-tribes are having their own indigenous governance system, and the genesis or the origin of this indigenous governance systems, what is called the village councils, are continuing since time immemorial, and every village do have their village councils, and these village councils are supposed to perform varieties of functions like that of socio-cultural functions, judicial functions, and developmental functions. If you look at the background of the introduction of Panchayat Raj in Arunachal Pradesh, the genesis dates back to that of the de-airing committee. A committee was constituted by the government of India, headed by Daying Airing, the then parliamentary secretary of Ministry of External Affairs, who headed the committee and gave his suggestion for formation and constitution of the Panchayat Raj in Arunachal Pradesh. As a result, the NEFA Panchayat Raj regulation of 1967 came into being. And since then, the formal decentralized governance of Panchayat Raj was introduced in Arunachal Pradesh, and people are actively participating in the process of local self-government themselves. On the other hand, there is the village councils, which were having the sanction of the society, are continuing in the state. The different tribes who are having their own village councils are supposed to take care of the developmental activities, the activities of social ordering, as well as looking to the socio-cultural dynamics of the state, of the community. So on the one hand, there the socio-cultural function of fixation of rituals, the fixation of the conduct of the festivals, the the fixation of the date of the time of hunting and the this type of socio-religious activities were carried on by the village councils. Side by side, they were ordained to carry forward the judicial functions. If the crimes are to take place in the society, then the village councils are to take decisions after prolonged discussion as per the provisions of the customary laws of that particular community. At the same time, they were also supposed to act as the go-between with that of the government and take care of the developmental activities. Take, for instance, building up of a school, the primary health centers, or the road constructions. All this type of developmental activities were also the functions of the village councils. With the introduction of the Panchayat Raj system, apparently there could have been some confusion between the working of these two institutions. One is the modern democratic decentralized institution for governance. On the other hand, the existing local government systems, which were supposed to take care of the social requirements of that village. If you will look at the village councils, these village councils are basically three types. There are certain communities which are having the chieftainship type of village councils, which are hereditary in nature, like that of the, for instance, Wanchos and the Naktes. There are also some tribes where democratic institutions exist, like that of Kebang and Keba of the Adis and the Galots. There are also theosophical type of village councils that exist among the Sardukpens and others. So these village councils are supposed to function in tune with that of the customary laws, which are basically part and parcel of the oral tradition, though there are attempts are being made to codify those customary laws to preserve and protect the culture of the communities and the societies. Now, here comes the Panchayat Raj regulation, which subsequently, after the 73rd Constitution Amendment, became the Panchayat Arunachal Pradesh Panchayat Raj Act in 1997. And on the other hand, the village councils, which are performing the similar type of activities, are having the legal sanction under the Assam Frontier Administration of Justice Regulation 1945. But one interesting development here one can observe is that though both the institutions were performing similar type of activities, but there was no confrontation as such. Now we can analyze that why there was no confrontation between the two organizations or institutions working simultaneously for the same purpose. Through our analysis, we understand that it is possible because of the limited circulation of elite in the society. But of late, we are observing that the Panchayat Raj institution is becoming gradually more visible in the society, and the village councils are gradually getting eroded. now side by side, there is the coming up of the separation of the judiciary from that of administration. Now, this institution also, the judicial institution also has carried away some function from that of the village councils. On the one hand, the Panchayat Raj institutions have taken away the developmental functions and administrative functions from that of the village councils, and now the village councils are left with only the socio-religious functions only. And as it is observed that the same set of elites have now shifted from the area of village council, or they are near and dear one who are influential in the society, having the oratory capacities, having leadership. They have shifted to the arena of Panchayat Raj. That's why there is a smooth sailing from that of the leadership patterns in the village councils towards that of the Panchayat Raj. Now, this working of the Panchayat Raj in Arunachal Pradesh is a matter to ponder with. Now, as we observe that Panchayat Raj institutional arrangement has been made as per the Panchayat Raj Act, Arunachal Pradesh Panchayat Raj Act of 1997. Elections are being held, but the very purpose behind formation of this decentralized governance institutions, whether are really performing its functions. Through our inquiry, we understand that the main impediment so for the working of the Panchayat Raj is that of devolution of power. The power which is supposed to be devolved to that of the panchayats, because the very objective of decentralized governance or Panchayat Raj is that to provide a platform to the public at the grassroots level to express their point of view, to prepare their projects, what is their real requirement. Am I audible? There was again some technical snag. So I think it is audible now. Participants? Is it audible?
Yes, yes.
Yes. Yeah.
Sir.
So
It is audible.
So as I was talking about the very purpose of the decentralized governance or the local self-government, which predisposed the fact that the rural people will have the opportunity to decide for themselves what is their real requirement. Accordingly, they will plan, they will prepare projects, and they will be directly assisted financially by that of the central government, and at the same time they will directly implement the centrally funded schemes in the local areas by which the
poverty-stricken local mass could be benefited. So the purpose was to provide power to the people. Local power needs to be empowered. We observe that through the introduction of the Panchayat Raj in Arunachal Pradesh has catered certain very distinct purpose. One is the empowerment of the women. As per the requirement of the Panchayat Raj Act, the reservation has been made for the women. So 33% reservation where women have come forward and they are now participating in the policy implementation and decision making in the rural areas through the Panchayat Raj. It has been observed that there are unique instances where in certain districts the women are coming in a big earth, and even there are elected members beyond the reserved quota for the women as members of the panchayats. This is a healthy development, in fact, that women who were otherwise were pushed to the fringe always, they were marginalized to a greater extent in the societies, now are taking part in a big way so far the Panchayat Raj system is concerned. But when we look at the working of the Panchayat Raj in Arunachal Pradesh, as I told you, the complete devolution of power is essential for the purpose of successful functioning of the Panchayat Raj institution, which has not taken place in a big way. Second aspect is that related to that of finance. Now, the Panchayat Raj institutions are not having any financial autonomy. Neither they have any power to collect fund for themselves. So when the state government is still providing the financial assistance in the form of grants, obvious it is that the autonomy of the panchayats are not maintained to the expected level as was visualized by the Panchayat Raj Act itself. Thirdly, the for that system the development activities is related to that of there in the programs. There is need for the members to take active participation. It is true that once the members are elected, they continually participate. Only you hello, am I audible? Am I audible?
हाँ चतुर्वेदी जी, अभी साउंड आ रहा है, एक बार चेक कर दीजिए। ठीक है जी, तो हम यहाँ से शुरू करेंगे फिर। सर विल कैरी कंटिन्यू फ्रॉम वेयर ही लेफ्ट।
Well, there was again some technical snag, and looking of the Panchayat Raj, there is the need of trained manpower in the Panchayat. It's in the term of the secretary. The secretaries need to be tuned the preparation of the various projects for development grants which are submitted to the central government or the state government. We observe that this dimension is very, very weak in the Arunachal Pradesh. The third position which I made is that the participation it is not the active participation of the elected members is very, very essential for the working of the Panchayat Raj system successfully. So I had some suggestion to make here where the state government can take necessary steps. First and foremost is that the Panchayat Raj elections for the Panchayat Raj needs to be conducted at a regular interval. Second is adequate manpower is needed to be given to the Panchayat Raj system, and in every panchayat there should be proper trained manpower. Then the third is the active participation of the members, elected members, in the preparation of the projects as well as pursuing the projects, while implementation, then the last suggestion could be the finance of the secured finance of the panchayats. And the fourth suggestion is that a regular social meeting necessary for the purpose of better implementation of the projects. So I'm sure, though there were various technical snags and sometimes it was getting disconnected, you might not have got the whole of it. Nevertheless, I would like to thank you all, and I extend my thanks especially to the Institute of Distance Education for providing this platform for placing my opinion. I'm sure you would have been having certain questions. The questions you may advance or forward for discussion. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Your deliberation has greatly enhanced our knowledge on socio-political changes taking place in Northeast India. We are very much thankful to you, sir, for delivering on very relevant topic with in-depth analysis of the processes and phenomena taking place with special reference to Arunachal Pradesh. Now, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Now, the participants can ask questions if there is any with regard to the changes taking place in Northeast India with special reference to Arunachal Pradesh.
Sir, I have a question. Can I go ahead? Hello. Hello.
Yes, Mohan.
Oh, yeah. I have one question, sir. It's nice to see you. Your presentation, I appreciate in the sense this, particularly when you talk about the two institutions, one democratic, one traditional system, which has been fitted into each other. That was something I would like to know, and you have highlighted. But apart from that, I would like to ask you regards to Assam. The government is intending to extend this Panchayati Raj system in the two hill district, that is the Sidil areas, Karbi Anglong and North Kachar Hills. Now they call it Dimaha South. So I would like to know your opinion. So how come the government is contemplating on extending this institution in this 6 Sidil area? Is it possible, or if it is done, don't you say that it will completely dilute this the provision of 6 Sidils? And nice to see you, sir. It's a long time. I would like to get your number also later. Thank you, sir. That's
it is really very, you can say, adventurous effort by the government of Assam. But as per the provisions of the 6th schedule, this Panchayat Raj system cannot be introduced because it will dilute the whole purpose of the 6th schedule. That's why I don't think that it is legally tenable. On the other hand, when we talk about the traditional system in Arunachal Pradesh, the traditional systems which were working in Arunachal Pradesh from time immemorial, and they were considered as the institutional arrangement at the village level for local self-government. And when the modern system got introduced, of course, the Panchayat Raj system has taken away the one part of the function, that is the developmental functions, which were also carried on by the village councils. That's why now the village councils have left only the socio-religious function. That's why the significance of the village council as an institution has gradually eroded. Nevertheless, in some of the tribes, they are reviving those institutions because those institutions were very, very economically in nature. So for decision making is concerned, basically in the area of, take for instance, criminal justice. So minor criminal activities were reserved at the village level, and it was not going to the formal court of law. And as you are aware now, the separation of judiciary from administration is taking place. The village councils were used to settle at the local level without much harassment. And we know for sure that how much harassing it is to run around the courts to get a decision. And we can remember the upstated statement that Tariq pe Tariq, Tariq pe Tariq, and Tariq pe Tariq. So this formal legal system is so much of time taking and lingering that the villagers may not get the justice in time. However, in case of the traditional system, the justice was instant. It may prolong for a day or 2 days or 3 days, but nevertheless, consensus is supposed to be reached at one juncture, and decisions were taken. And those decisions were avoided by all the members of the community. That's why healthy atmosphere was managed, and the culprit also accepts. They have various methods of finding out the culprits, and take for instance, they have oaths and ordeals which are implemented for convincing the criminal and administering criminal justice in the village, at the village level. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Hello. Good afternoon, sir.
Yes, yes.
So, first of all, congratulations, sir, for like excellent presentation. So I have a question that, sir, it is seen that the youths of Arunachal Pradesh who are in between 21 to 30 years are less interested in grassroots politics. So my question is that, sir, what is the reason behind Arunachal youths having less interest in grassroots politics, sir?
No, it is not true, it says. It is not that they are having less interest in grassroots politics,
yes,
but it is that the grassroots politics is over politicized. So if you look at, we have a sizable chunk of the panchayat members who are youths, and they are doing very well. That's why it is not that they are not. Of course, the youth are not more interested now in the traditional system. So as I think you understand, so there is a question about how to blend these two. Okay, blending is not possible because the institutions are different in nature. One is having relations with that of faith and confidence on the society. The other is a modern system which is legal, institutional, and organized. So both cannot be as such blended. Nevertheless, the societies can look into their village councils can revigorate, energize, and create a new ambience by which youth could be attracted, participated, and the smaller and minor cases of criminal justice, or for that matter, developmental activities could be taken into account, and healthy village atmosphere could be ensured. I find a very interesting, development in Arunachal Pradesh, because I have spent here more than 32 years in Arunachal Pradesh. I started my job over here and is going to complete my tenure. So my innings will be over by another 3-4 years. From my experience of the development, I observed that the existence of the communities in Arunachal Pradesh, which was more communitarian in nature. But of late, I am observing that they are becoming more individualistic. So individual benefit is being given much emphasis than that of community benefit. That's why this culture of community are concerned towards essential, and to be ensured that communitarianism needs to be injected in the mind of the youth, and we need to ensure that people are taking interest to the society, towards the development in the society. Well, a question is being raised here is that you have said that the village council, which is indigenous to the people of AP, is weakening at the expense of the panchayats. Is this a healthy trend, or how do these two needs to be blended? No, just I have answered this question that it cannot be blended. Only the social values could be injected into the mind of the youth, and we can think about building up of a healthy society at the rural level. There is another question. The reservation has been provided and the provision for women and in name of women empowerment, but in many cases the women members of PRI system didn't play in practically. Yeah, that's true. It is not a separate or isolated incident. So for Arunachal is concerned, it is happening all over the country. But we should have a discount over here, that keeping in view the marginalization of the women folk in our male chauvinist society, most of our societies, pardon me if I am telling wrong, are male chauvinist basically and traditionally. So now we have introduced the Panchayat Raj system. It is too early to expect 100% or very active participation of the women into the domain of decision making. Nevertheless, there are certain areas in different states of our country where the women do take part very actively. Take for instance, the formation of the SHGs, self-help groups, they are very active, and the rural economy is being assisted to a greater extent because of the formation of the SHGs. Now the women folk are getting an opportunity to get involved themselves in the process of decision making. Of course, it will take its time. That's why you find now there are criticisms that Panchayat Patis, where the wife is the elected leader, whereas the husband really runs the show. This type of incidents are also there in some cases, but it is not a constant phenomena in case of all the states, or in case of all the Panchayat Raj system, where women are also taking active part, coming forward, and they are also contributing towards the development of the rural areas. Okay. Thank you very much for the wonderful questions. So nice.
Thank you, Professor Panigrahi. Now, without taking time to conclude the program, and taking this opportunity on behalf of the Department of Political Science and Institute of Distance Education, Rajiv Gandhi University, would like to thank all the dignitaries who were present over there on the inaugural session. I extend my warm gratitude to speakers, Professor Rajan Singh, Professor Manipur University, Professor J. Dongal, Professor Mizoram University, and Professor P.K. Panigrahi, Professor and Head, Department of Political Science, Rajiv Gandhi University, for accepting our invitation
and enlighten us on various aspects of socio-political sense in Northeast India and Arunachal Pradesh. Also, a very special thanks to the students, my colleagues, and all the participants for participation and asking relevant questions, making the webinar successful. Thank you all once again. Thank you.
Thank you. That was Dr. Nivam from Department of Political Science. And with that, we come to the formal end of it. But I would like to just share that we have been, since the COVID-19 pandemic started, ID has made a very conscious effort to try and get onto this online learning and blended learning. In the last 1 month, we have organized around 6 events. This is an 8-day seminar. But today is the first day when we had the 3 speakers from the Northeast. Every day we have someone from either from Delhi. Yesterday we had someone from Bulgaria. So we always had someone or other coming from out of the Northeast. And that one day that we had 3 speakers from the Northeast and we could see the issues with the connectivity. So yes, we need to really work on that. From Mizoram, sir had joined us from Manipur and one speaker from Arunachal. So that just tells us how difficult it is to stay connected in the Northeast. We apologize on behalf, I apologize on behalf of Institute of Distance Education and Department of Political Science for the issues that we had to face, technical issues. For all the people who are still hanging in there, sorry for the connectivity issue. Hope that we get to have better connections tomorrow. Tomorrow we have sociology and then the next day tribal studies. Again, for people writing in the feedback link, please. Okay. One more time, feedback link will be shared at 7 p.m. in your own respective WhatsApp groups. I hope that is clear. If you have joined the WhatsApp group for political science, it will be in the WhatsApp group at 7 p.m. Sorry again for the technical glitches today. Hopefully it will be better tomorrow. With that, I will formally end the session and I hope to see you all tomorrow at 10 a.m. Thank you.